Hey everybody, I'm Dawn Church, and we have the fabulous Marissa Wayman here too. And this is day number 3, I think, of Work Smart's new Cybersecurity Awareness Month video series with the Halloween twist. So this week is all about the scariest threats on the internet. And one of the scariest threats in cybersecurity, just in general, is ransomware. So we've all heard the scary ghost story tales of the dreaded curse that attacks your data and then locks it away in a tower too far away to be of use to any of us. Sort of like sad Rapunzel locked away in her tower, right? Unless you pay the counter curse.
That's right. Because when you're infected with ransomware, your files are encrypted, meaning you can't access them without a specific key. And this type of malware is called ransomware because they uh, hold your files for ransom and demand that you pay to unlock them.
Right. So we've talked about how email attacks threaten your security, right? In our Wicked Witches of the Web email episode. So those email attacks can lead to ransomware. That's one of the tricks of that Wicked Witch's sleeve, right? So, like if someone clicks on what looks like an innocent attachment, but when opened, it downloads the ransomware and encrypts your network. But there are other ways outside of email and phishing that ransomware can curse your environment, right, Marissa? Can you tell us a little bit about what some of those other ways are?
Well, many ransomware attacks start by luring you with that spam or those phishing emails, but others use the vulnerabilities or software exploits or compromised passwords to gain access to your systems. And recently, with this massive sudden shift to remote work earlier this year, it made this retro threat come to rise from the shadows, and that is RDP attacks. So let me explain this a little bit more simply. RDP, or remote desktop protocol, is typically used in office environments to allow your team to remotely access files and applications from home or elsewhere. Your tech support actually, or other admins, may use RDP to support and diagnose and treat your environment. And as we know, cybersecurity criminals are always, or just criminals, are always happy to take advantage of the change and chaos. And they're always on the watch for new opportunities, like new technology to attack. And although RDP isn't new, the way we're using it now, with and at the frequency in which we're using it, is almost like it's new. And when you use remote desktop protocol, it's typically regarded safe as long as it's used within a private network. Now, in this quick shift to getting our teams productive from outside the office, small businesses may have missed adequately securing this type of remote access. And if you leave it open to the internet, that means you can browse directly to your network resources. Now, if that means you have easy access, that means your attackers can also do the same. And once they're in, the curse sweeps over and nothing is safe and everything can be ransomware.
Exactly. Just like that. And it is just as dramatic, let me tell you. But all right, so let's say your everything has been infected with the ransomware. Um, so is it possible, Marissa, to just pay to reverse the spell?
Well, if companies weren't paying these ransom demands, we probably would see criminals stop using the ransomware. I would caution anyone who wants to pay the ransomware that doesn't guarantee that they're going to get access to their data, that these bad actors are going to lift the curse. Because after all, why put your trust into someone who wasn't trustworthy to begin with?
Hmm. Okay, so the moral of that story is it's vital that you take steps ahead of time to protect yourself from being caught in the spells of a ransomware attack. And we're going to talk a lot more about all of the treats of new technology and services, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in weeks 3 and 4 of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month video series. But there's a couple of really simple things you can and definitely should be doing right now. So, number one, the most common way that computers are infected with ransomware is through some sort of human action. So that could be a person has opened a file that's attached to a phishing email or clicked on a link on an infected website. So the best thing that you can do, hands down at this point, is to educate yourself and your team on how to detect spam and suspicious websites and other scams by employing cybersecurity awareness training programs tomorrow, today, right now. Do it if you haven't already. All right, so number two, hand in hand with that is it's important to enforce the use of strong passwords for everyone on your team, but especially for administrator accounts. And you can strengthen the authentication security by requiring more than one form of identification at login. So, not just the password, but maybe you get texted a code or you get a code sent to your email. This multi factor authentication, MFA, we talked about it a lot, but that's another thing that you can and definitely should be doing. So, number three is you need to create a secure backup of your data on a regular basis. Because with a reliable backup, remediating a ransomware attack can be as simple as wiping the infected systems and restoring all of your data from an earlier uncursed time. But word of caution is you'll want to scan those backups to ensure that they haven't been infected before you restore, because some ransomware is designed to look for ways, pretty much all ransomware is designed to look for ways to get into everything. And that can sometimes include your backups. So there's a couple of quick things. But Marissa, I'm sure you have more notes on the subject. So what else can people do to add some extra oomph to their cybersecurity strategy?
Me have more to say? Well, here's how we at Work Smart like to keep our clients safe. Um, as we mentioned, there's these major security risks for RDP being open to the internet. So instead, it's best to use a VPN to allow your users to access your office network prior to being able to access those remote desktop services, so they don't expose their system to your systems to the entire internet. Also, be sure everything in your software is up to date. Ransomware rely often will rely on holes in your software to use these things called exploit kits. See our episode about malware for more information. But they use these to gain access into your systems. But as long as your software is up to date and these holes don't exist, these exploit based ransomware attacks can't hurt you. Similarly, if you're running on outdated or obsolete software, then you're at risk for ransomware because the software makers don't patch any holes on an ongoing basis. And we talk about tools as well. A DNS filtering solution is important because it helps to block any of these dangerous domains or these web addresses that you type into your browser. So a ransomware attack works by calling back to a home base to generate the encryption keys. So basically, the ransomware gets installed and it picks up the phone and says, "Hey, I've got a computer here. I'd like to go ahead and encrypt. Could you get me the stuff that I need?" Well, a DNS filtering solution will interrupt that call so that it doesn't actually take the action it's intended to do. Super helpful. And then lastly, we always recommend having a business class firewall with the appropriate configuration and up-to-date security services so that you can have up-to-date protection and also make sure you leave no holes open on the actual firewall itself.
Yeah. So lots of really good ways to combat that ransomware with preventative measures and counter curses and all the things. So for more, join us tomorrow and we're going to talk about some more of the curses on the internet. Bye.